The public employees agreed almost immediately to every single financial concession that Governor Walker asked for in order to balance his budget. Every single one of them. They wouldn't take out the collective bargaining language. See, the actual language doesn't have a fiscal effect on our budgets. The right to collectively bargain. Some people don't think it's a right. In the law, as it stands in Wisconsin, it says every person has the right to collectively bargain their jobs. That's what the law says. So it became very, very clear to us early on that this was not about the money. It was never about the money. This was about busting public unions in the birthplace of public unions. Public unions started in Wisconsin. And Governor Walker had a national agenda because if you look at every single poll in the state of Wisconsin, every single one of them, it doesn't matter if it's a left poll, a middle poll, or a conservative right poll, 60 to 70% of the people support collective bargaining rights in Wisconsin. 60 to 70. In the most conservative poll, it was 67%. In the most left poll, it was up above 76%. So it's something that, despite what we might think about unions individually, we support the right. But more importantly, what was going on in Wisconsin was this a national agenda that was being promoted by a couple of people who have nothing to do but with Wisconsin, except they see dollar signs. That's what they see. That was documented in this makes me proud to say this, a phone conversation our governor had with somebody he thought was David Koch. I can't believe a governor, first of all, would be duped into that, but he was. Secondly, it was discovered in the phone conversation. I can't believe a governor who was elected to lead a state would think about planting agitators in a peaceful protest to cause a ruckus. That's what our governor was occupying his time with. I can't believe a governor would try and trick us back into the state of Wisconsin when it's quite clear we're not as stupid as he was when he took this phone call. And that's what it was. It was stupid. It was embarrassing. It was unbelievable. When I say it's an attack on the middle class, it is. When I talk to the small business owners who tend to lean Republican and voted for Governor Walker, I said, take a look at your bottom line. The second the public employees conceded to the financial concessions in Dane County alone, that instantly removed $260 million out of the economy. In cash, gone. That's a lot of spendable income that we spend on our fish fries, in the taverns, when we play cards on Sunday afternoons, in the restaurants, in the Main Street, mom and pop shops, hardware stores, everything. That's a lot of spendable income. It's over $1 billion in the entire state. Gone. I guarantee you, if any industry in the state of Wisconsin said, look, we're going to leave and we're going to take $260 billion out of Dane County's economy, the Republicans would be tripping over themselves to pass every single tax break they could think of to keep them there. I'm telling you all of that to tell you this. In Wisconsin especially, we have a deficit. In every other state, there is a deficit. But it is not your fault. You have nothing to do with the deficits that states are running all over the place. It's a federal issue that's trickled down, hasn't trickled down, it has flooded down to the states. And we haven't been responsible in dealing with it. So campaign after campaign this past November, we saw every single Republican who run against public employees. There's no shame in being a teacher. There isn't. There's no shame in being a prison guard. There's no shame in public service. Wisconsin is built on public service. It's a strong tradition for two reasons. Number one, it's cheaper. And number two, there's more accountability. What's going to happen in Wisconsin? We've had prison industries register in January. These companies, big companies who come in and run prisons, they all have lobbyists now. It's going to cost more to contract out, and we all have less accountability. We lost the battle. There's no doubt about that. In conclusion, a lot of good, dedicated men and women in the state of Wisconsin are going to lose their jobs. Not because local units of government want to, they just don't have a choice. But we didn't lose the war. What happened in the last election cycle is a lot of us, and a lot of you who participate on the Democrat side, we kind of sleptwalked through the campaigns. We did. We didn't show up like we did 2 years previous in great numbers. But what Scott Walker did was take a piece of legislation, and he didn't poke a sleeping dog, he slapped it across the face. And I can't begin to tell you what's going on in Wisconsin right now. We're going to have 8 recalls of 8 Republican state senators. We are. And what will happen when we gather up all the signatures, and in most cases, we're about halfway there, and we still have, what, 40, 45 days to gather up the rest? This is only 2 weeks into the recall process. We'll have elections, and the elections will be somewhere around June or July. And some Republican state senators are going to lose their seat over this, and they know it. But they did it anyways, and here's why they did it. It's not because they believe in the issue, because they don't. These are all pretty much pro-labor Senate Republicans. They didn't want a primary from somebody in the Tea Party. That's why they voted the way they voted. That's why, rather than have the Senate Democrats cower back to Wisconsin to give them the opportunity to vote, they pulled the guts of the bill out, went to the floor in a maneuver, and passed it. Just the Republican senators. The vote was 18-1. And I understand you heard from Dale Schultz a little bit earlier. Dale's a wonderful guy. Dale's a Republican. Dale is one of those guys who basically says, look, there are 2 sides to this issue. Let's sit down and talk about it. He offered up an amendment, and he was slapped around pretty good. So I really have a great deal of respect for Dale and what he's done, not only on this issue, but issues in the past. But it was the Senate Republicans only on the Senate floor when it passed. Only. We didn't go back to give them the opportunity. We knew there was going to be a vote. We wanted to vote on something differently, and it became quite clear that they didn't care about the money at all. So in the end, as I opened up, I want to thank the Wisconsin firefighters, the Professional Police Association. They were wonderful. They get it. They understand that they might be exempt now, but chances are they won't be tomorrow. And the governor knows that too. So if it hasn't come to your state, it's going to be coming to your state real soon. You need to stand proud. You need to stand strong. This isn't an attack on your guns. This isn't an attack on your beliefs on any other issue. This isn't a direct assault on your pocketbook for the jobs that you do, risking your lives day in and day out to save people like me. That's what we pay you for. The dedication that the men and women have as professional firefighters is not questioned by anybody. But it is appreciated right now, so you know, ladies and gentlemen, by one political party more than it is the other. And as long as I'm in the state Senate, the Wisconsin professional firefighters know that they have one of the strongest allies they could ever have. Some of the firefighters in Wisconsin thought Governor Walker was the way to go. Clearly, he's not. And there's a lot of Governor Walkers out there. There's probably one in your state right now. In the end, it's not your fault that we are in the shape we are in. And in the end, you need to stand as strong as you possibly can and defeat this, even if it takes state by state by state.